Welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast. Wherever you may be, please hit that subscribe button and hit that thumbs up. That'd be much appreciated. And the Kings, in a win or go home situation in this 9-10 play-in matchup between the Dallas Mavericks, the Sacramento Kings in this game got flat out outplayed in this game. No question about that. And Dallas knew that they had Sacramento, and the Mavericks never looked back. And it all was in that second quarter where the Dallas Mavericks went on a 44-19 second quarter, and they scored 71 points at the halftime. That was your ball game, and it was a poetic play-in loss for the Kings, but this is a sad and fitting in to this chaotic 2024-25 season. Now that was of the Sacramento Kings, and now as fans, we have a off season here in Sacramento where Sacramento does not have a first round pick, and they have $115 million of salary tied up to three of your best players, supposedly three of your best players, in Zach LaVine, Sabonis, and DeRozan, to look forward to this offseason. How exciting, because the Sacramento Kings, if you want to look at the first quarter, Sacramento had a 2-point lead at the end of the first quarter, 29-27, and from that point on, it was all Dallas Mavericks. As I said, it was that second quarter. The Sacramento Kings had 9 turnovers in that second quarter, and the Dallas Mavericks, they scored 44 points in that second, and it was not Anthony Davis, because I thought the Kings early on in this game, like in that first quarter and a little in that second, I thought they did a fine job on Anthony Davis, but in that second, it was the other guys on that Dallas team that really got it going. Klay Thompson got it going in that second quarter, and this is the same Klay Thompson that had 0 points, and he was 0 of 12 last season in that play-in game for Golden State. And Klay, he finished this game with 23 points in 33 minutes, and he was 5 of 7 from the 3-point range. And then also in that second quarter, Brandon Williams, good young player, who's been running a lot of the point guard for this Dallas Mavericks team since the injury to Kyrie. 17 points for Brandon Williams, 3 of 4 from 3. Derek Lively, I thought played well in this game. 2 steals for Lively and a block. PJ Washington, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for Lively. Najee Marshall, in his 29 minutes, 9 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 4 rebounds, but also Dante Exum in this game, 11 points off that Mavericks bench. And then Anthony Davis got it going in this game in that second half. 27 points, 9 rebounds for AD, 3 of 6 from 3. And in that first half, it was a 16-2 advantage for the Dallas Mavericks for the points in the paint. But this game was over in the second quarter, 44-19 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. Like the Kings, they got smoked in that second, heading to that halftime. Third quarter, that this coming out of halftime, I really wanted to see what this Sacramento team would look like after getting smoked in that first half. Because the first 5 minutes out of halftime, I really wanted to see what this team would look like if they would give a damn. And the only people who really gave a damn in this game was DeMar DeRozan, because he was the only guy who really played well in this game. But going into the fourth, the Kings trailed 99-81. At that point, DeRozan had 28 points on 23 shots. Zach LaVine, the other player who I thought played okay, not great, 15 points on 12 shots, but no other player on this Kings team was even in double figures in this game. And the fans who paid, they paid their hard-earned money to watch that crap in a playing game, a win-or-go-home situation, and the fans showed up, but the team simply did not show up in this game. Domantas Sabonis was horrible in this game, and he chose the absolute worst game to have his worst game of the season. And Sabonis couldn't even buy a bucket in this game. He had 5 turnovers in this game. He was 5 of 13 shooting, 11 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, but just an horrendous night for Sabonis, and he picked the wrong game to have his worst game of the season. DeMar DeRozan, he knows how to put that ball in the basket. Find ways. And his brand of basketball doesn't always lead to that free-flowing offense. It's more that ISO over ISO isolation. But it's hard to fault DeRozan in this game when he scored 33 points in this game for 13 of 28 shooting. Zach LaVine, slow start. I thought he was a little. He looked a little frustrated early in this game. Never really settled in. But Zach posted 20 points. He was 8 of 19 shooting. Again, it was only Zach and DeMar that really showed up in this game. Another good thing that Zach has done here recently for Sacramento was passing. 9 assists in this game, but he also had trouble with the basketball. He also matched Sabonis in the turnover market. He had 5. And Zach LaVine in this one, he needed to be more aggressive, looking for a shot. And I don't think he did that quite enough, because I think an aggressive Zach LaVine is a good Zach. And also a aggressive Keegan Murray is good. And I don't think we saw enough of that in this game. And speaking of Keegan Murray, he joined that long list of Kings players who just didn't show up or couldn't get anything going in this game. And he had the task of guarding Anthony Davis for a period of stretches in this game. Tough sledding for Keegan, and Keegan just finished the night with 9 points in this one, 6 rebounds. Also, he had 2 blocks. One of those blocks was a chase down block on Anthony Davis that saved a sure bucket by AD. But Keon Ellis, who was in foul trouble in this game, for most of his 18 minutes that he played. I thought he shot the ball well, Keon Ellis. But again, just 18 minutes in this game because of his foul trouble. And the Kings, they needed Keon Ellis to really slow the Mavs guards in this one, and he wasn't able to do that from sitting on the bench where Keon spent most of this game. And Keon Ellis 9 points on just 3 of 4 shooting. And with this loss, it was 120 to 106. And with this horrendous showing from the Sacramento Kings, the season is over. It's a sad, as I said at the top of this episode, it is a sad but fitting end to this chaotic season, which it felt like the Sacramento Kings played 3 seasons in one, with everything that happened, where you went winless in the preseason. You got off to a terrible start in the regular season. You had De'Aaron Fox go on Draymond's podcast, and then you also had Fox's agent Rich Paul come show up to a game. And then you had that loss in December, that you against Detroit, where you fouled Jaden Ivey on a 3-point shot that for a 4-point play by Fox, which ended up being Mike Brown's final game as the head coach. And then Doug Christie takes over. Kings go on a nice little run for the new head coach. And then you have all the Fox rumors. I think that was around in like January, before the deadline. And then you move Fox, you bring in Zach LaVine as part of that deal. And then you also make moves to bring in JV, Jake LaRavia. Like, this has been like 3 seasons into one, and now the Kings, who just like last season bounced in the play-in tournament. They finished this season 2 games over 500, a losing season, by the way, at 40-42. And I think there's a lot of questions going into this offseason for this Kings team. Ton of decisions to make. Like, you got the head coach. Is Doug Christie gonna have that interim tag removed and be the permanent head coach? You got questions about the front office. Monty McNair, is he gonna be the ones making the decisions going forward? And then you got a Kings roster that's filled with holes. Plus, like, you got $115 million tied up to your 3 best players in Sabonis, DeRozan, and Zach LaVine. So I think this is going to be an offseason of changes for this Kings team. Plus, I believe you got Keegan Murray, who's also, I believe he's eligible for a rookie extension. So it's going to be a busy offseason. And the way the Kings played this game tonight, it's just very fitting that the Kings end this season just like they started. Just a disappointing as a and the King, like, even if the Kings would have won tonight, and then go on to face Memphis, and if they won these two playing games, they were gonna get their ass kicked in the playoffs against Oklahoma City. But it's it's I think it's fitting. I'll just keep it out. It's fitting that the season ends in a single elimination game, win and go home, against a Mavericks team who kind of had a similar season. Like the Mavericks, a season where they were decimated by injuries. They made that trade that they're still going to get crucified for, with Luka Doncic going to LA and then AD coming to Dallas. But just to really sum up this game, the Kings looked absolutely terrible, with Dallas controlling the physicality and making it look easy on both ends of the court. And the game, the only time the Kings were in this game was the end of the first quarter, where they took a 2-point lead into the second, and from the second quarter on, the Dallas Mavericks never looked back, and they controlled that game. They controlled this game from that point on, and should be really interesting to see what this offseason holds. Again, no first round draft pick. That goes to the Atlanta Hawks. And again, you got $115 million tied up to your three best players. So should be real interesting. Plus you got the coaching situation and front office. So this is going to be a interesting offseason for the Sacramento Kings and how they fix this roster, because you need to fix this roster. Because if you look at the Western Conference, we want to talk about the teams ahead of Sacramento who are better, but also it's the teams below the Kings who are also going to be better, like San Antonio, a full season with Fox and Wemby. And then you got the Portland Trailblazers, who I believe, in my opinion, the Portland Trailblazers will be a play-in or playoff team next season. Who knows about, you got the New Orleans Pelicans. You know, they were decimated by injuries, but the thing about the Pelicans is their season always comes down is the health with Zion Williamson. Utah, I don't expect Utah to be there yet. I think they're still in that rebuild. But you got San Antonio, you got Portland, you got New Orleans. Those were teams that are behind you this season. Those teams could leapfrog you this year. Plus, you got the Phoenix Suns. What do the Phoenix Suns do this offseason? Do they trade Kevin Durant? Let's talk about a extension for Devin Booker. And this season was awful for the Phoenix Suns after winning 49 games a season ago, and being 13th in defense just a season ago. And they were a playoff team last year, and they were a non-playoff team this year because they were bad this year. And then you look at the teams ahead of you. Oklahoma City, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be better. The Houston Rockets, they're young. They are going to be better. And look for the Houston Rockets maybe be in on Kevin Durant maybe this summer. to go with that young core nucleus. You got the Clippers, who are going to be. I think the Clippers right now are the second best team in the West. You got the Lakers, a full season with LeBron and Luka next year. The one team that you may have questions about, the Denver Nuggets, because you have the whole Jamal Murray doesn't like how with the whole contract situation with going with him and that team. You got Golden State, a full season with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry next season. That's a team that could be better, even better next year. The Minnesota Timberwolves, that's a team that's better than you. So the Sacramento Kings, they have some real questions that they need to answer. If you want to be better next year, you have got to fix this team. If it was me, I would move DeMar DeRozan this offseason. And because I don't think, in my opinion, I don't believe the DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis, that big three does not work. So I think I would, if it was me, and I think it'd be hard to move Zach LaVine to move Zach in his contract, and you look how hard Chicago tried to move Zach. They had a difficult time moving Zach LaVine for the longest time. So, and then I would keep Sabonis and LaVine and go with and build around those two plus Malik Monk, Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis. I would try to sign Jake LaRavia this offseason to go with this group and then go from there. And then you got, I believe JV's under contract with this team, but you get some big questions and some holes to fill on this Kings team going into this offseason and going into next season. But the Kings season ends in disappointment as they fall to the Dallas Mavericks in the play-in, a sad but fitting end to this chaotic season that was for the Sacramento Kings. If you're watching on YouTube, please, thanks for tuning in to this post-game recap. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below, be much appreciated. If you're listening on your preferred audio platform, Apple, Spotify, please hit that follow button, rate 5 stars, leave a nice little review, be much appreciated. And we'll see you next time on another episode of our Kings related podcast. I may do I have a idea of doing season grades for each player on this Kings team for future episodes. So keep an eye out on that. Should be fun, of doing season grades of each player on this team. And I don't know if I'm a tough grader. I don't know what to grade these players. I don't know if anybody will get an A, maybe B at the closest, but stay with us as we try to figure that out for future episodes coming up. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for catching each post-game recap this season. And we'll see you next time on the next episode of our Kings related podcast. Thank you, and go Kings.